take us live and then, okay, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to the House Economic Matters Committee. Today is Friday, April 2nd, 2021. We will get a briefing a briefing on Senate Bill.
House 583.
House Bill 583. Okay, we're on the House version of it. Ms. Kristen Flynn from E&T has been so gracious to come and talk to us about Climate Solutions Now Act of 2021.
Hi, yes, good afternoon. Kristen Flynn, virtually visiting from Environment and Transportation Committee. The bill coming out of committee makes broad changes to the state's approach to reducing statewide greenhouse gas emissions and addressing climate change. Among other things, the bill increases the statewide greenhouse gas emission reduction requirement to 50% from 2006 levels by 2030 and requires the state to achieve net zero statewide greenhouse gas emissions by 2045. It establishes new commissions and working groups, establishes state tree planting goals, and increases and extends energy efficiency and conservation program requirements administered by the PSC. And it also establishes requirements for the purchase of zero emission vehicles in the state fleet. It looks like Bob has shared the reprint of the bill. Thank you. The committee made a number of amendments to the bill. The first several pages are technical, starting with page 8 of the reprint. Addresses the greenhouse gas reduction target. The bill as introduced would have set a target at 60% from 2006 levels by 2030. This provision is actually not shown on, we moved the provision to, shoot, I forgot that moved. Well, I'll show you when we get there, but this target was increased to 50% instead of 60%, which is up from a 40% target in current law. Provisions relating to achieving net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2045 were moved to this section of the bill, which terminates, is subject to a termination provision that sunsets in 2030. And then moving to pages 12 through 13 relate to environmental justice considerations. The committee amendments strike language that would have expanded the duties of the Commission on Environmental Justice and instead requires MDE to take the lead on the environmental justice considerations. And then, sorry. Going to page 16, this is when we're going back to the greenhouse gas reduction provisions, and you'll see that's where the target is on, I'm sorry, I have my pages mixed up in my, so on page 14 of the bill is where you'll see that the new greenhouse gas reduction target of 50%. And then going to page 16, and it relates to the greenhouse gas reduction plans. The amendment allows the inclusion of carbon capture and storage technology only if the technology has been scientifically proven to achieve verifiable carbon reductions. It adds language requiring that the plan to include emission reduction estimates related to the expansion of mass transit options. And then on page 18, under the provisions that would require analysis of the social cost of carbon, the amendment strikes language that would have established a $50 floor on those costs. Okay. And so then we'll jump to we'll just go to page 19. And these provisions relate to, or they establish the Just Transition Working Group of the Maryland Commission on Climate Change to study and advise on matters relating to job loss and creation as the state implements energy efficiency and greenhouse gas emissions reductions measures. The committee amendments alter the composition and charge of the working group. So on pages 23 through 27 is where the bill addresses energy efficiency and clean energy for buildings. The committee amendments strike most of this language and instead requires that certain commercial buildings have a roof that is at least 40% solar ready, reflective, or green, and requires the Maryland Department of Labor to adopt implementing regulations. The amendment also requires the Department of Labor to adopt the most recent version of the International Green Construction Code by December 1st, 2022. On page 28 of the bill, those provisions relate to extending the Empower Maryland program, and the committee amendments increase the annual energy savings requirements beginning in 2024. And then at the bottom of that page relates to the high performance buildings, the definition or the types of the buildings that meet the definition of a high performance building. We added a new option for schools and public safety buildings in rural areas. So those buildings could achieve a certified standard rather than the LEED Silver standard if certain circumstances are met. On page 30, the committee amended the bill to require that the state install a certain high efficiency HVAC system in newly constructed state buildings when life cycle costs of that system are less than the cost for a system that meets minimum compliance standards. On page 32 of the bill, this is relating to zero emission vehicle requirements. The amendment phases in the zero emission vehicle purchase requirements for the state vehicle fleet, starting with passenger cars and then other light duty vehicles. The amendment also adds language authorizing the Maryland Transit Administration to purchase alternative fuel buses under certain circumstances, and adds language on the development of charging infrastructure to support the operation of zero emission vehicles in the state vehicle and transit bus fleets. The amendment strikes provisions that establish a net zero school fund, and it removes the provisions relating to the Strategic Energy Investment Fund from the bill. So that's out of the bill. So going to page 40, and this relates to the bill's tree planting provisions. The committee amendments delay the goal that's set in the bill to be achieved by the end of 2031. The amendment also alters the funding provisions for tree plantings. The bill as introduced would have had allocations coming from the Bay Restoration Fund for I think a 9-year period. This amendment allows an allocation under the BRF in fiscal year 2023. And then for fiscal 2024 through 2031, the funding would come from general funds. Additionally, the amendment requires the Chesapeake Bay Trust to target grants under this newly established Urban Trees program to eligible organizations based in the underserved urban areas where proposed tree planting projects will occur. Okay, and then getting down to the last amendment. So going to page 49. The committee added language that would require each state agency responsible for the procurement of concrete to give a price preference as determined by the Board of Public Works to the procurement of a concrete mix design that meets certain specifications. It establishes the Blue Ribbon Solar Land Use Commission. It expresses intent language that the PSC continue a specified study. It requires the Maryland Energy Administration and the Power Plant Research Program to jointly study items relating to solar installations on commercial and industrial property. It requires the Department of the Environment to conduct a specified study on least cost options for carbon reductions in the building sector. And with that, that describes, as quickly as I could, the bill with the committee amendments.
Kristen, can you take a couple of questions?
Sure.
Guys, Kristen take a couple of questions, but remember, she's not the sponsor of the bill or anything like that. She's only explaining what what the committee did. So let's keep that in mind. Delegate Charkoudian.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Kristen, for all your great work in that committee. And thanks for being here. I do have, I guess I have a number of concerns about the amendments that were made in ENT. And I'm just wondering if you can maybe clarify, and I don't know if you can also explain, if you have the ability to explain like what the concerns were that they were responding to. I had more or less followed the process through the Senate, and I thought it was a strong bill. So I guess my first question is just about the target language. It's my understanding that we had in statute 40%, that the governor's, the Climate Change Commission was recommending adjusting that, or had adjusted it on the executive end of things to 50% already. And we were going for 60% in this bill. And so I'm just wondering, first of all, is that accurate? And second, do you know why the committee made the decision to lower it to 50%, given sort of scientific evidence of pending climate catastrophe, and the need to sort of speed things up?
So you are correct. This does essentially codify the Maryland Commission on Climate Change recommendation for 50%. And the committee decided that that was the more realistic goal. The law requires both greenhouse gas emissions reductions and economic considerations. And so that was the decision of the committee to decide on 50%.
Okay. So do you know if there were, you're saying realistic goal, like well, I wonder if that was tied to the building standards, because I think the building standards was the other place that I had concerns, given the buildings are such a significant contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. Well, not buildings, but heating and cooling buildings are a contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. And I know there's some pieces that are still in there, and the empower section is still strong and sets us up for the ability to strengthen it in the future as well. But a ton of if I was following, it looked like a lot of the building, the standards that really would make a big difference on some of the larger buildings were removed. And I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about the reasoning for that. I think to some extent, I was also following this summer some of the work by the buildings in the mitigation subcommittee of the of the Climate Change Commission mitigation subcommittee, had a building standard subcommittee. And I was following some of their discussions, and it looked like I was tracking some of those suggestions were what made it in here. And they had done some pretty, I think, sophisticated analysis there was a consultant that did some of that. So again, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I know you're just representing the decisions made by other people, but I am trying to understand that set of decisions, because it did seem to come out of an analysis that seemed, realistic and doable. Can you speak to that decision?
And I'm sorry, I couldn't tell if you were finished your question. I had a bus just go by my window. So I don't really have a lot of background information on that because most of these amendments came in as sponsor amendments. And so the discussions, again, really came around what the committee felt was realistic with this bill at this time. Certainly this committee is very committed to, climate change related policies, but as far as this is what the sponsor of the bill offered, and it was adopted by the committee. Okay.
I guess my last question is about the Environmental Justice Commission. And I know that again, this is maybe if you can just clarify for me, the EJ Commission was put into place a number of years ago and really has been ignored and not engaged with. And, I think in some ways it's been reflective of the lack of priority of this administration for engaging on environmental justice issues. And so originally, if I understand it, the components of this bill related to strengthening and prioritizing the work of the EJ Commission. And it looks like you said that has changed to something else. And I'm just wondering if you can kind of review that again, because I do want to make sure we have stuff in here that ensures that we're prioritizing environmental justice issues.
Kristen, before you get into that, can you also, because I think a related point to what Delegate Charkoudian is asking about, it has to deal with, I think, a bill that Delegate Bridges Tony Bridges was working on. Am I mixing concepts, or did that have something to do with the fact that it was taken out of this bill because of something Delegate Bridges and I think Delegate Boyce were involved with?
That's correct, Mr. Chair. The committee worked on House Bill 1207 to reform the Environmental Justice Commission. The commission is a voluntary board, has one staff, so this committee is also very mindful of the tasks and the duties being assigned to that commission. So the committee utilized House Bill 1207 to make the changes they felt were appropriate for that commission to take on. Now, environmental justice considerations are still in the bill. It's the Maryland Department of the Environment taking the lead on those measures, and they would be consulting with the commission along with other state agencies.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll take a look at 1207 as well. Yeah, okay, well, great. Thank you. Those are my questions.
Delegate Watson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to ask Ms. Flynn what the process was with the other committee. You said that these were sponsor amendments, so they had a public hearing, and then did they work on this in the subcommittee or in a work group, or did they come back? Did the sponsor just come back with amendments after the public hearing?
These amendments were developed after the public hearing on the bill. Bills in the Environment Transportation Committee generally go through a subcommittee process, which this bill did. So the subcommittee for several days, the sponsor, who's also the chair of the subcommittee, went over the bill as amended, and that was the process.
Okay, and those subcommittee meetings are all online, right?
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Did I miss anybody? Okay.
Actually, I just have one question. Can we get a copy of the reprint?
It was sent out with the voting materials today. Madam
I'm
Vice
sorry.
Chairman.
Okay, I just haven't gotten all the way through it. Thank you.
Let me go to Delegate Mouts.
Thanks. Just a real quick question. You mentioned the Bay Restoration Fund. How much money from the Bay Restoration Fund was being used?
It totals a $15 million transfer in the year fiscal 2023.
Okay, thanks.
Delegate Charkoudian, did you have another question, or is it still left up from before?
You know, I always have questions, so I'm just going to permanently leave my hand up. But in this case, it was left up from before. My apologies.
No problem. Delegate Fisher?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just curious, is there a revised fiscal note out now?
So the revised fiscal note is drafted to Senate Bill 414, and these two bills do not conform. There's been some items in the Senate bill that have been taken out by this committee, and there's been some items that have been added. So there is an up-to-date or a revised fiscal note on Senate Bill 414, but this is the House bill, and the amendments are different.
Okay.
Delegate Fisher, I think it's not until the bill passes, like in this case, both committees, that they'll do a revised fiscal note.
Gotcha. And then the other question is, thank you, Mr. Chairman. My other question is, in order to reach these goals, was there any discussion? Because the goals are not reachable without nuclear. Was there any discussion about nuclear power?
So in the context, we did have an amendment that was offered that be allowed to be considered as an option. And the committee felt, since, you know, other energy sources that also, you know, don't have carbon emissions weren't being mentioned, that the need to mention nuclear was not necessary.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? If not, thank you so much, Ms. Flanagan. We appreciate your time. We will get to this as soon as we can if they're asking how it went. I promised that Chairman Barvey we would be nice, so tell him we were nice to you.
I definitely will. I appreciate it.
Thank you much. And with that, thank you so much. And guys, we will go now to voting list 22. When we're ready, let's skip on over to Senate Bill 65.
Okay. Senate Bill 65 was actually held yesterday. This is the bill that came over as a ban on black liquor in Tier 1 of the Renewable Portfolio Standard, equal to what we sent out as a House Bill 875. There are now a number of amendments in your packet for 65. Delegate Davis's amendments that were proffered yesterday take some language that were presented over in the Senate side on a different bill to address the solar percentages in the RPS and also the alternative compliance payments to provide a slowdown in the solar ramp up and then a later corresponding increase in the ACP to address the pandemic effect on the solar industry and their capacity to actually help the state comply with its standard. That's the amendment from Delegate Davis, 763-552. We do have 3 amendments that were proffered today, but from Delegate Adams, the one numbered 493-420/1 would require that any qualified biomass RECs in the state must be generated from a facility in the state. The one that is 883-720/1 would allow black liquor for 1 additional year up through 2023. And then 893-423 would keep black liquor in state permanently, would require, starting in 2025, Public Service Commission to prepare a report on the compliance levels and pricing of RECs, Tier 1 RECs, and if it felt that those numbers should be decreased, they would send the report to the chairs of to the General Assembly, to the Finance Committee and ECM, and then if neither chair objected by a date certain within the session, the numbers would automatically be reduced as of the last day of the legislative session if the PSC had recommended that.
Hey, you what? Can we start with my amendment first?
Okay.
That does everybody remember that?
Yeah, I would move the adoption of your amendment.
Second.
Moved and seconded for favorable as amended. For favorable on. All in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, Chris, I'm gonna let you start with yours. I think that the permanent one probably should be taken up before the 1-year one, if I'm interpreting, because if we do the other one, in theory, then that would make the other one moot.
Yeah. So Mr. Chairman, you've heard all 3, and if you would just like to voice vote them, and if it gets close, maybe we can roll call. But generally, what I'm trying to do is have an in-state amendment. So keep if we have future providers that are in-state, keep them in Tier 1. The other one is a safety valve of sorts. So if there's a increase in price over 50%, that we can put black liquor back in. And then the last one is a little bit more involved, but it's basically an extension. So, I'm okay with just quickly getting through this and seeing if it's one that you like or if the committee likes.
All right.
Go from there.
Understood.
So, go ahead.
Go ahead, Madam Vice Chair.
I was going to at least move unfavorable on the permanent one.
Second.
All right.
Okay, that's,
Start.
is that the?
That's the last one. The last
Okay. Okay, there's also an issue with that one in terms of a legislative veto when it comes to having the chairs of the committees not object or not, and then have that be a trigger for a change in something which is said in statute.
All right, I don't think that changed my mind.
I'm just simply explaining.
I
there's
understand. I appreciate it. Yeah.
One other issue that I hadn't brought out, but.
No, appreciate it.
All in favor, Delegate Aaron, Aaron's. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Delegate, yeah, I had just, why can't we look at that and say until we quit purchasing, using Rex for black liquor outside the state, keep it?
Sorry,
As long as we're
Delegate
giving
Aaron's,
other-
could you say that again, please?
Well, as long as we're giving other dollars to other states that do, for black liquor to fulfill our needs, why don't we leave it until we're done with those? Why not try to buy it out of Maryland and somewhere else if we can?
I can't answer that. Can Delegate Charkoudian?
Can I just ask you a question, Delegate Aaron? Because I feel like there's been confusion on this, and I just want to make sure that we're talking about the same thing. The bill that we just passed earlier, Chairman Davis's bill, says that we can't buy black liquor at all anywhere, not out of state, not in state, right? Is that everyone's understanding?
That's correct.
And
So we're no longer going to be able to procure one bit of black liquor anywhere.
that's, well, if the bills pass and get to the governor and he doesn't veto it, yes, that's kind of where we are now. We passed Chairman Davis's bill off the House floor. We've just moved, or we're about to move, I guess. Is that this bill?
Okay, I get that, but what if we don't pass that bill?
Yeah, if we don't pass these bills, then we will be buying black liquor all over the PJM grid, and we'll be the only ones doing it. So they'll all be doing it in here.
Well, I would be good with that if we could then amend this, say, as long, just my suggestion still works then. If as long as we're not buying it, then it's my amendment would mean nothing. Right? If that other bill goes through where we cannot purchase black liquor anywhere, and this thing goes in, as long as we're purchasing any, that we can still produce black liquor energy within the state.
So your suggestion is that, oh, sorry, Mr. Chair.
Go on.
I'm just
I
trying
could be
to
interpreting
understand.
it wrong.
Your suggestion is that we put on the bill that says we're not going to buy black liquor anywhere. We're going to put on that bill an amendment that says, but if we do buy black liquor somewhere, we should buy it from the state. Is that?
I think I was kind of saying that on this bill here, on Chris's amendment about this, put a caveat in that as long as the state is procuring black liquor from any source, we will not ban black liquor from Maryland.
Okay, but Chris's amendment,
if the chairman's bill goes through, it's a moot point.
but this bill is the cross file of the chairman's bill. So if Delegate Adams's bill goes on to this bill passes, this bill is the same as the chairman's bill, which gets rid of black liquor completely. That's why I guess I've been confused. It seems like it's kind of circular. If we're passing this bill and the chairman's bill, then nobody's buying any black liquor. So you wouldn't put on that same bill.
Let me take, Delegate Charkoudian, let me take a different tact of it. I know what Delegate Aaron's is saying now, but what's going to happen in reality, Delegate Aaron's, is that if hypothetically, if we were to do that, they're just going to resist the House amendment and ask us to recede or whatever the case may be. Or either that or just conform what we did to the earlier bill that we sent over. I mean, it's more of a, I know what you're saying, but if just being perfectly honest, I think it's just sort of an exercise. They're going to resist, though. If we were to do that, they're going to resist those amendments. This bill was actually still Senator Kelly's bill. She asked me to cross-file it. And so I know precisely what they're getting at and what they'll do. I mean, it would just be an exercise, to be perfectly honest with you.
We've done that as Republicans once or twice, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
We've done that as Democrats too. We understand that. I'm sorry,
Thank
Delegate
you.
Howard.
Sorry. How do we bifurcate out? So we're importing energy from out of state. How do we bifurcate out of state energy that was produced from black liquor? Because it says any product derived from black liquor. So I would think that would mean out of state.
If I can clarify one thing, it's not that we're bifurcating the electricity. Electricity goes everywhere.
Right.
We are
And that's what I'm getting at.
what we're doing is we're bifurcating the renewable energy credits, the RECs, which are the environmental attribute, which are a separate. It's a legal fiction, but it's a commodity that is buyable and sellable based on what the various states have as their in their RPSs. It's not the actual electrons.
Okay. All right. So we're still, but at the end of the day, I guess, making room. I don't know if that's the right term, Bob, but we're making room or whatever for the RECs, but we're still importing energy from out of state to meet our goals.
And that won't change because we are,
Right.
depending upon the season, we are importing between 25 and 40% of the electricity that we use in the state because we use far more than we can generate with our facilities.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Let's entertain a motion on that amendment, what I will call amendment number 3 of the Adams
Okay.
package.
Okay.
And I think I moved unfavorable on that, and there was a second.
All right. On the unfavorable, all in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Guys, I need a little more enthusiasm with this voting stuff. If you could help me out, I would appreciate it. All right, let's take amendment number 2 in that package. Now, this is, I think, the 1-year moratorium, if I'm correct, Bob.
1 year safety valve. That's correct.
Yeah. All right, is there a motion on that?
I would move unfavorable, I think, based on what we've done
I
at
would
this
second.
point this year, that
Second.
we should stick with it.
All right,
Second,
all in, did somebody say something? All right,
I just seconded.
oh, got it. All in favor of the unfavorable motion signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
No.
Motion carries. And now let's go to amendment number 1.
That's the one that would require RECs from any qualified biomass to be from a facility in the state.
Yeah,
Only
Mr. Chairman,
in the
I'll
state.
just, yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'll just say of the 3, this one provides for the opportunity if something comes around the state that they could avail themselves of this. And I, of the 3, this is my, the one I like best for the sake.
Is that,
Isn't the concern that this particular type of it is dirty and it's not something we want to continue to use?
We don't currently have, do we currently have, Mr. Chairman?
We don't have it anymore, correct?
But in the outside chance, Western Maryland, for example, if something comes up, this would be, yeah.
Qualified biomass is the larger one. This is also what was being burned down at the Eastern Correctional Facility until they swapped out for natural gas.
Now, they're still doing that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I've
So
seen the natural
so
gas line running, so that's still not going to happen for another year or so, would be my guess.
right. So, and that's also tied up with the qualified biomass discussion that we had with Delegate Buckles' bill, but we'll be doing a summer study on.
here's the, and I'll just be blunt, guys. Here's the problem with, or as we talk, if I'm not mistaken, I think I just read that there's a big settlement down at that plant in the neighborhood of $750,000 because of black liquor. It seeped into the water, and there's a big remediation effort and so forth going on. I guess what I'm saying is that it just sort of underscores the fact that renewable energy and clean energy, while used synonymously at times, they're not the same thing. And yeah, it's been a big thing in the paper that of that settlement that the state entered into with the owners, and reported just this week that, and there's an ongoing remediation effort that will be going on down there. So I don't know if that changes any mind, but and the only reason why it stayed with me was because of this discussion, and it just underscored the fact of how, unclean it is. But that's just my take. Delegate Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I think I read that same article. I think it was like 670,000 was the number that I saw. But I mean, notwithstanding that, and given your discussion, I just wanted to ask Delegate Adams, I mean, exactly as it relates to that, what his amendment does.
The amendment is, if I've got the correct one, Council, this is my in-state amendment. So if there's in the future, if there's an in-state production that uses black liquor, then we would allow them to be in tier 1.
This isn't just black liquor. This is all qualified biomass.
Okay, so woody
So,
biomass, for example.
Woody biomass, and if I can bring the refresh the committee's recollection, we have some sources that have to be tied to the state's distribution grid. There are others that are all within PJM, and qualified biomass has always been a within PJM source. We had some issues with potential challenges with the Commerce Clause, which is why when we first did the RPS in 2004, most things were within PJM as opposed to simply within the state. And that's a continuing issue.
Well, Delegate Rogers, I'd forgotten ECI. They burn woody biomass there, so will do for a while, right?
Yeah.
And
Okay,
we will
thank
be
you.
taking a look at woody biomass over the interim. We that was a legitimate summer study. Delegate Wilson,
Yes.
your thing lit up. Oh, I thought you were trying to say something.
Oh,
All right. Anyone else? If not, is there a motion on
Move unfavorable.
Second.
all in favor signify by aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Nay.
you asked for it.
Eyes have it.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull a Mike Bush or Cass Taylor. That was a Cass Taylor.
That was a CAS.
Yeah, Cass had amazing hearing, and say that the motion carried.
Speaking of facilities in Allegheny County.
I kind of get the feeling it's 16-7, but I could be mistaken. All right.
So I do have a question on the bill,
Yes, ma'am.
actually on your, and excuse my ignorance, I'm still learning. But the amendment that we adopted, is it just solar or does it apply to other sources of energy?
It does two things. The solar band is what's adjusted. There are some overall adjustments to the total tier 1 as
Right.
well as to the solar band. And then what also apply across tier 1 are some later adjustments in the alternative compliance payment. The request was specifically made to address solar and related sources, but just because of the way the RPS is set up, you're giving everybody a little grace on this.
Okay.
On the bill as amended,
Yeah, move favorable as amended.
Second.
moved and seconded for favorable as amended. Madam Vice Chair,
Yes.
is Delegate Brooks excused?
Excused.
All right, Delegate Brooks excused. Delegate Fisher?
No.
Delegate Queen?
Yes.
Delegate Turner?
Yes.
Delegate Rogers?
Yes.
Delegate Carey?
I have your speakers off. Yes.
Delegate Jackson?
Yes.
Delegate Pippy?
No.
Delegate Mouts?
No.
Delegate Wilson?
Yes.
Delegate Impalaria?
No.
Delegate Branch?
Aye.
Delegate Valderrama?
Aye.
Delegate Walker?
Yeah.
Delegate Chi?
Yes.
Delegate Adams?
No.
Delegate Aaron?
Nope.
Delegate Fennell?
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian?
Yes.
Delegate Howard?
No.
Delegate Crosby?
Yes.
And Delegate Watson?
Yes.
Motion carries. Can we jump down to Senate Bill 103, please?
Woof.
Woof.
Yes. Senate Bill 103 is Senator Kramer's bill that alters the definition of a retail pet store. So as introduced, the bill says that the definition of retail pet stores includes brokers and no longer specifies that the store has to be open to the public. And then it excludes an establishment at which the animals are being sold were born, as well as those establishments where a completed sale, transfer, or disposition of a cat or dog is conducted in person with both parties physically present at the location. The sponsor has offered an amendment to strike out that last part so that the sales that are in person would no longer be exempted from the definition, from what's excluded from the retail pet store definition. It's a little confusing. Delegate Dumais has also offered 4 amendments that are in the packet.
I'm happy to. So this was this year. This isn't an area I'm very familiar with. And I apparently irritated the sponsor last year by asking a question. But this year, I think it was fair that we had sort of a full hearing and heard from all sides. So in my nerdiness, I actually went to do some research and actually reached out to one of the proponents, Ms. Yessen, who was from the Save Benji group. I forget the real name of it. To sort of, because she referenced in her testimony that there are at least 19 other states that have stronger laws that actually follow sort of the American, is that right? The American Animal Welfare Act, just the federal law. And she sent to me, which I'm happy to send to everybody, a chart indicating what other states are doing. And I think if we're going to do this, we should do it right. So I do have a couple of amendments. One is not completely ready yet, so I am going to suggest that maybe you give me just till Monday. One of the amendments would add a task force at the end so that we could actually look at protecting animals properly and doing what some of the other states are doing, following along with the American Animal Welfare Act that does have a licensing piece to it. I will tell you, I did look at all of the information and plus read the additional information that was sent. So for instance, I have read the US District Court opinion that has basically upheld the law that was passed in 2018. It was done by Judge Hollander, who I happen to know personally, and she's probably one of the smartest women I know. So, I don't, they're still appealing it, but her opinion is quite well reasoned. I also read the U.S. Humane Society has actually filed, it's similar to a legal brief asking the FTC for rulemaking authority. It's about 200 pages. There are a lot of exhibits to it, but I did read that as well. This is really a pretty big, so here's what I'm not suggesting we not pass 103, pretty much as drafted. Again, I have some language that I want to work on this weekend and add a task force, but would respectfully ask if we could hold it until Monday, perhaps have BR look at it because I will have the information by then for BR.
I'll second that.
Yes. And
you're going to kill
Delegate
Laurel.
Wilson just looked up and gave me a look saying illy, but that's where I am. So I would ask for a hold, but I wanted to give you this explanation to let you know I'm not trying to kill the bill. I'm trying to actually make it better and perhaps actually have us look at better ways to protect animals in the state.
Madam Vice
Right,
Chair.
so do you,
I'm sorry.
Delegate Valderrama?
I had said I would request that you do hold it, but could I also request of you respectfully, Madam Vice Chair, if you could share, if you have not already shared with the bill sponsor?
I haven't, but I will.
Thank you.
I'm in the process of getting it together, but I will.
So, Madam Vice Chair, do you want us to take up the amendments you have now or take them all up on Monday?
I think I prefer to take them all up on Monday. That one of the task is a little tweaking, and I've spoken with Laura. I think I try to do it right.
Nope, that's good enough. I just wanted to know how you wanted to proceed. All right, so we will hold that Monday. Let me see what goes on the floor. Because I don't know how Monday's going to work. So
okay.
I'll let you all know based upon what we hear this evening or tonight, as the case may be.
Thank you all.
Let's try Senate Bill 66.
Senate Bill 66 is, we have an amendment to conform it to House Bill 97, which was Delegate Learmon's digital connectivity bill.
That would make it identical, basically. Okay.
You got it. Conform
Is
it.
there a motion on the amendment?
Move the amendments favorable.
Second.
All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries on the bill as amended.
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Madam Vice Chair,
Yes.
Delegate Brooks is excused. Delegate Fisher,
I need to be excused on this one.
got you. Delegate Queen,
Yes. Yes.
Delegate Turner,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Carey,
Yes.
Delegate Jackson,
Yes.
Delegate Pippy,
Yes.
Delegate Mounts,
Yes.
Delegate Wilson,
Yes.
Delegate Valeria,
No.
Delegate Branch,
Aye.
Delegate Valderrama,
Aye.
Delegate Walker,
Yes.
Delegate Chi,
Yeah.
Delegate Adams,
Yes.
Hey,
Delegate Arentz,
No.
Delegate Fennell,
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian,
Yes.
Delegate Howard,
Yes.
Delegate Crosby,
Yes.
and Delegate Watson.
That was a yes.
Got it.
Excuse me, Delegate Howard, was that a yes?
Hold on a second.
Just
That's
making
what I
sure.
had.
That's what I thought.
66.
Yes.
So I got like 25 people calling me, which is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Hard laid.
I just want to make sure.
Hard played.
No, I just
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
hear you. That's why I'm asking. Okay.
Word has been, yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
What was that? 66.
66.
What about 489?
489 is very similar to House Bill 679. This is the Anne Arundel County Alcoholic Beverages Class MT movie theater license. It is almost identical to the House bill. We also have a concurrence for the to conform the House bill to the Senate bill.
So do we need to amend the Senate bill, or the Senate bill is fine?
The Senate bill is fine according to the delegation, and frankly, it's cleaner language.
Got it. So it's just on the bill then. Is there a motion on the
Move
bill?
favorable.
Second?
Second.
All right, Madam Vice Chair,
Yes.
Delegate Brooks is excused. Delegate Fisher,
yes.
Delegate Queen,
Yes.
Delegate Turner,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Carey,
Yes.
Delegate Jackson,
Yes.
Delegate Pippy,
Yes.
Delegate Mouts,
Yes.
Delegate Wilson,
Yep.
Delegate Impalaria. Did I miss you, Delegate Impalaria? That looks like a yes. Is it?
Was a thumbs up.
Because he's, all right. We'll go with yes. Delegate Branch,
Yep.
Delegate Valderrama,
Aye.
Delegate Walker,
Yeah.
Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Delegate Adams.
Yeah.
Delegate Arentz,
Yes.
Delegate Fennell,
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian,
Yes.
Delegate Howard,
Yes.
Delegate Crosby,
Yes.
and Delegate Watson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Senate Bill 490.
Senate Bill 490 from Anne Arundel County. Senator Bidle was the cross file to House Bill 680, which was Delegate Rogers' bill. They are not identical. This one makes the chief inspector for Anne Arundel County Liquor a full-time position, but puts it into their classified positions as an NR something or other, as opposed to a set salary of $30,000. And the delegation sent us a letter in support of the Senate version.
Move favorable. I'm sorry.
Can we,
Delegate Howard had a.
can we hold it
Delegate Howard.
for, thank you, Mr. Chair. Can we hold it for possible amendment?
Fine by
Three
me.
or three?
Yep. Who was did I,
Mr. Chairman.
who, Delegate Carey?
Yeah, I mean, we can hold it, but the delegation sent a letter supporting the Senate bill. So I would prefer to move it.
We'll get there. Let's hold it till Monday and then we'll vote. Like I said, we'll be voting every day and we'll get there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
We'll get there. I promise.
Senate 824.
824.
Senate 824 is, we have amendments in the packet to conform it to House 1328. That just passed third reading today. This is the trenching bill that goes along with Senate Bill 66.
Move the amendments.
Second.
All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. On the bill
Delegate
as
Aaron has a
amended.
hand up.
Yeah, Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry, Delegate Aaron.
It's not a big deal. I just think I've voted on these two bills like 14 times now. It just seems like they just keep coming out.
Well, if you
Thank
keep
you.
holding them, yeah.
I know.
Between that
Vote
and them
no.
appearing on the voting list, we're close to 14.
So which bill is this again?
This is the trenching bill. This was Delegate Feldmark's bill.
Feldmark's bill.
Move favorable with amendments. I'm
For
sorry.
the last
My
time.
hand up too.
Delegate Adams.
No, go ahead and make the motion in second, and I'll speak on the bill.
Okay.
Second.
Move favorable as amended.
Second.
Moved and seconded for favorable on, it's no amendment, right? It's just favorable.
It is an
No, it's an
amendment. We
amendment.
conformed it.
We're conforming it.
All right. So all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the bill as amended.
I make the
All right,
motion
so-
favorable as amended, but
Somebody toss me a second. All right. Now get at it.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I do have a question to council. So there's some questions about this bill. Where's the funding for this come from?
This actually is something that authorizes, currently the joint trenching language deals with MDOT and related state agencies. What the bill does is it also adds joint trenching authority to localities, allowing them to adopt a resolution or an ordinance for joint trenching within their jurisdictions and to assess a fee for that.
Let me get right to the fee because that
right
question. What is that? Who pays the fee?
The fee is paid by the broadband provider. And with the amended language, it has to be quote unquote on reasonable financial terms.
Mm-hmm. All right, thanks.
Delegate Fisher.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, since this is a double trenching, should we also include Jimmy Tarlow's double pole bill on this as an amendment? That was.
I don't know that we have dangling wires here.
uh-huh.
That's another bill that seems to reappear.
From the grave.
From the grave. All right. On the bill.
Moved and seconded.
Madam Vice Chair.
Yes.
Delegate Brooks is excused. Delegate Fisher.
No.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Delegate Turner.
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Carey,
Yes.
Delegate Jackson,
He can't hear me. He's muted. He's mute. Jackson.
Delegate
muted.
Jackson, are you there?
He's coming.
There you go.
Now we need your vote, Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Got it. Delegate Tippy,
No.
Delegate Mouch,
No.
Delegate Wilson,
Yes.
Delegate Impalaria,
Yeah, we might have lost him.
He was in the car,
Mhm.
and I don't see him in the
all right, we'll excuse him
participant
then.
list. Okay.
Delegate Branch,
Yep.
Delegate Valderrama,
Aye.
Delegate Walker,
Yeah.
Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Delegate Adams,
No.
Delegate Arentz,
No.
Delegate Fennell,
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian,
Yes.
Delegate Howard.
Bob, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Walk me through what this bill does again now, very quickly.
Okay.
I got my phone's ringing off the hook. I'm sorry, committee members, but I just want to be careful with the vote. That's all I'm trying to.
What the bill does, it's cut down from, because we got rid of the stuff that was duplicating what was in Senate Bill 66, House 97. What is left is the authority for a locality to adopt a joint trenching policy ordinance with a fee. What it also, that's paid locally.
Mhm.
But it requires MDOT and the localities to adopt reasonable standards, and MML and MACO are included in that conversation. And that's basically what's left of the bill. We struck intent language. We struck anything dealing with the rural broadband assistance fund. The funds that come in on the state level have to go equally among the three funds that were just set up. So the Rural Broadband Assistance Fund, the Digital Connectivity Fund, the Digital Inclusivity Fund, local funds stay local.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, committee members, for entertaining it. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm a yes.
You're voting yes?
He is.
Okay. Delegate Crosby
Yes.
and Delegate Watson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Bill 933, please.
Senate Bill 933, we heard this yesterday, and it requires the Office of the Commissioner of Financial Regulation to submit a report to the General Assembly analyzing the banking environment and financial services environment in the state. There are no amendments.
Mr. Chair, I have some questions for the sponsor about this bill.
I'll give her your number.
So is that a hold?
No.
No.
Yeah, 'cause I was gonna tell her who asked to hold it.
Move
too.
favorable.
Move favorite. Move favorable. Move favorable. Move favorable.
And mute yourself,
I'll use
mute
the other one
yourself.
As a second
I'm not
one.
muted.
Madam Vice Chair.
Yes.
Delegate Watson.
Yes.
Delegate Crosby.
Yes.
Delegate Howard.
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian.
Yes.
Delegate Fennell.
Yes.
Delegate Arentz.
Yes.
Delegate Adams.
Yes.
Delegate Chi.
Yes.
Delegate Walker.
Yeah.
Delegate Valderrama.
Aye.
Delegate Branch.
Yep.
Delegate Impalaria.
Yes.
No,
Delegate
he's here.
Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Delegate Mouch.
Yes.
Delegate Pippy.
Yes.
Delegate Jackson.
Yes.
Delegate Carey.
Yes.
Delegate Rogers.
Oh, Mr. Chair, I need to know how Delegate Jackson voted.
He voted yes.
Yes.
Delegate Turner.
Yes. Yes.
Delegate Queen.
Yes.
Delegate Fisher.
No.
What?
Always one.
Always
And
one.
Delegate Brooks is excused.
What?
Motion carries. We have one final bill, Senate Bill 944.
Senate Bill 944 is very close to House 1136 that we sent out. This is one of those bills that requires the local liquor board to refund money that was paid for liquor licenses. The difference between the Senate bill and the House bill is that it no longer includes Class HM or racetrack licenses. Other than that, they're pretty much the same. And they also corrected a cross-reference in another statute. We do have a letter in support from the delegation.
So is it just favorable?
Correct.
All
Motion.
right, move favorable.
At least that's what this, that's what the delegation said. Yeah.
Second.
Second.
All right, Madam Vice Chair,
Yes.
Delegate Fisher,
Yes.
Delegate Brooks is excused, Delegate Queen,
Yes.
Delegate Turner,
Yes.
Delegate Rogers,
Yes.
Delegate Carey,
Yes.
Delegate Jackson,
Yes.
Delegate Pippi,
Yes.
Delegate Mouts,
Yes.
Delegate Wilson,
Yes, sir.
Delegate Impalaria,
Yes.
Delegate Branch,
Yes.
Delegate Valderrama,
Aye.
Delegate Walker,
Yep.
Delegate Chi,
Yes.
Delegate Adams,
Yes.
Delegate Arends,
Yes.
Delegate Fennell,
Yes.
Delegate Charkoudian,
Yes.
Delegate Howard,
Yes.
Delegate Crosby.
Yes.
And Delegate Watson.
Yes.
Motion carries. We're getting there, folks. Plugging away a little bit every day. Again, thank you very much for everything.
We do have a concurrence.
We do have a concurrence.
House 679, which is the corresponds to Senate Bill 489, the Class MT license bill.
That's the one we just did.
Correct.
All right. So we're moving to concur or not?
Correct.
Move
Yeah,
to
move to concur.
All right.
Second.
All in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Moving to concur.
Otherwise, we'd have to have delegates Carey, Rogers, and Howard on the conference committee.
You're welcome. All right. Is there anything else for the good of the order?
When's our next meeting?
April 13th.
Close.
From your lips.
We're gonna try April 5th, but it won't be before the Monday session. It'll be after the Monday session.
Oh, okay.
In other words, we're having a Monday daytime session?
You know what? Let me, that's a good point. Let me hold off. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Okay.
It's a day session because of everything that's going on with some other bills, but we may not. If we don't have a day session, then we will meet like 4:30, our regular time. If we do have a day session, then we'll just meet immediately following.
Okay.
All right.
Mr. Chair, what time we have to be back on the floor?
Now,
I think it's
Now.
4:30. Is it now? Yeah, now.
It's 4:39. The
I haven't
bells
heard a
didn't
ring
ring.
yet. I
Yeah,
haven't
they
heard.
haven't rung the bells.
I heard
That
the
means
bells yet.
Judiciary may be running.
It's
by.
no bells.
Judiciary had a voting session at 4,
Wait,
so
one
I'm
sec.
sure they're still doing it.
Yeah.
They're waiting on CT.
Oh.
They're waiting on CT.
So, yep. So we're just waiting for the bills to go off and then we'll head back. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks,
Gotcha.
guys.
Guys over there.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, wait a minute, honey. Wait a minute. Let me close out.